this for a month now, or what are we on? We did just the day before Christmas, didn't we?
That's right, the 24th. Yeah.
We did the 24th, and now we're here, we're back, and we're talking about mindfulness here on the COVID Freedom Sessions, and we are live
Amazing.
Oh,
across
are
many
we? What are
platforms.
we
We
live in
are.
this specific moment?
We are
Oh,
live.
live already.
I cut the
Okay.
front off a bit usually, but it's usually a lot of laughter. We're just here to have fun and just take a break from the whole COVID news, and there's other stuff coming down the pipe, and I mean, we chose mindfulness. What's mindfulness for you, Phil?
Are you asking me?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna start with Phil, but
Okay.
we should introduce
Okay.
Carmelinda, shouldn't
I
we?
was going to say ladies first.
Ladies first. Who is Carmelinda anyway? Why is she here? I mean, Carmelinda is an amazing and beautiful soul that we're really fortunate to have. So thanks for being with us, Carmelinda. I know that you're in a lot of different networks and things. And so, what's your current focus and that you're bringing to people?
Well, my current focus, I would say, is very much inspired by the current times. I just recognize the need for, you know, grounding. I recognize the need for connection to self, connection to others. So I'm really inspired by this need. So what I'm currently working on with most of my energy and my focus is developing an online platform of my own where I can put the things that I feel are most supportive to, mental and physical health. And I know that there's just tons and tons out there that people can do, and it's, we all have different preferences, but I'm placing into this platform the things that I find personally the most helpful and that I'm the most passionate about around teaching. So I'm going to be launching that soon, and I really hope that people are going to use it as an opportunity to just stay and most importantly mentally healthy and as much as possible in a harmonious state. So
Oh,
that's where I
beautiful.
would say most of my focus is. It's I've got other things going on that are all great, but that is my primary spot right now.
That's great. So, what's your take on mindfulness then? What does mindfulness mean to you, and how do you use it in your day and in your practice?
It means a few things to me, but one thing in particular for me, mindfulness is noticing when, my mind, my perspective, my response to something is not aligned with truth or from a grounded place, like a centered space. So for me, mindfulness is the ability to catch that in yourself. And I think that the more we use the tools like breath, like yoga, like these kinds of conversations, we're able better to notice those tendencies in ourselves and then calling ourselves back from that. So, wow, I'm noticing I'm like really overreacting to this situation. And then from that place, being able to take myself to a spot that feels I can look out at the world with a brighter lens, more understanding, more compassion, to allow for more exchange rather than, getting our defenses up like we can so easily as humans. So implementing the things that support that, which for me most importantly has been breath and prayer.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. What's your mindfulness take, Phil?
My mindfulness take. First of all, Carmelinda, thank you for sharing your take on mindfulness. I resonate with a lot of those in catching myself in the moment with using breath, and then with the prayer aspect, rewriting my dialogue or my inner dialogue that's happening when I get to catch it. So mindfulness can mean I think a lot of things, but being mindful instead of mindless. Mindful being aware of the internal internal affect or internal stirring that occurs in moment to moment, breath to breath, step by step, and it's just noticing and being aware of what shows up and in those moments choosing to do something differently, or using mindfulness in that point of in that perspective to choose and do something differently or carry out something differently. I know that for myself in these times, and especially this year already, and today in Toronto, or Canada. Is it Canada or is it Ontario? I think it's just Ontario. The stay-at-home order is. And I saw the announcement coming up on the TV, and I saw the announcement come up on my phone, and it was like everywhere. The stay-at-home order. It's law, right? And I watched my inner dialogue show up around that, like the inner defenses of like, you don't tell me what to do. That kind of like initial reaction. And it's, in those moments of taking a breath and catching myself in that, because I don't necessarily want to attach to that. It's pretty poisonous, that kind of dialogue, for me, for myself, right? And what it releases, like hormones and all the above, cortisol, adrenaline, and takes me out of alignment, and takes me out of that love space. So especially prevalent right now, using mindfulness with breath, and then noticing how we're talking to ourselves inside, and step by step, we can rewire and reframe and redo our inner narrative, either through prayer or mantra, or however that comes about. I think that's all I got to say on that right now.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. I mean, if I think about mindfulness for myself, from my perspective, I think it would be a little bit like emotional intelligence, actually. I could use that model. So the first two steps in emotional intelligence are self-awareness and self-control. I think mindfulness plays into that second part. There's almost this, you could have that awareness of everything if we talk about it on a spiritual level. But then there's the mindfulness of how you then react or internalize or take that in and what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you get that fear response, if you take it in too much,
Yeah.
it can be overwhelming, like you're talking about. I know it was overwhelming for me in November when I was getting all those texts and emails and all those things. And it can lead to even depression. Like it can really throw you off and throw you off your game. So it's really about being mindful how you treat those things coming at you that you're aware of. So I think awareness is maybe first. That would be a word we haven't used yet in any of our sessions, Phil. And then being mindful then of, so for me, it's being mindful of myself and others and how I'm reacting, interpreting, and doing things, because you can easily get off track. And I think ego has a little bit to do with it too, is being mindful of your own ego. I saw a great course. I don't know who's running. I didn't make a note, but it's the course's name is very simple. It's like it's going from ego to me, right? So transitioning from ego to me in like 5 sessions to yourself, pretty much, right? Which I think is pretty interesting that they're saying that. But I totally got the title. I think we all understand that. So
It's very, very, very interesting, and I'm so happy that you brought up ego and me. And I'm very interested in what Carmelinda has to say about ego and self, in that, because I think that's really, really important, Chris. You touched on that place of where am I coming from, and what is serving and what is useful.
I totally appreciate the consideration and the conversation about this. I think one thing that's really fundamental is that we recognize we are all, we are energetic beings, and we all have nervous systems. So oftentimes our response to things are very much related to what is stored in the nervous system. So it's definitely a powerful vision to be able to say, I'm going to catch myself, I'm going to have this self-awareness, and I'm going to manage better my response. And I think that's super important. And I also recognize that a lot of the times our emotional responses, and sometimes often behavioral as well, are actually rooted in nervous system. It might be trauma, it might be, historical, experiences, lessons, writings on the wall, limiting beliefs. So I think it's really important to carry space for ourselves where we can be very honest, without any sort of shaming and shunning for our instinctual reactions to situations. But how amazing that if we're working in ways that support regulating the nervous system and implementing mindfulness at the same time, we're doing that powerful work of both. I think that there needs to be a healing within the nervous system. So we do that through somatic type of practices. Something I do is emotional freedom technique, which is a practice where we tap on acupressure points while we speak about the issue that's disturbing us. Sometimes as you're talking about this issue that's disturbing you, you might be thinking, what am I even talking about? This is ridiculous. But the bottom line is we have our reasons for holding on to things and for responding to things a certain way. So as you tap on the acupressure points, you're moving the energy while being very, very honest with yourself and whatever practitioner you're working with about what it is. You're articulating that really clearly. So when I think of ego, I think it's important how we look at it, and not in a shunning or shaming kind of way, but to hold space for ourselves with, acceptance and love, despite our emotional reaction to things. I hope that supports your question, answering your question.
It absolutely does, because I feel like the ego gets a lot of shunning and a lot of shaming sometimes, and I wanted to open that up to say, and you said it beautifully, Carmelinda. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
It was exactly what needs to be said in and around. We need to have love and acceptance and self-compassion for those moments when that does show up. And then when we have that, we have the ability to look at it, and we can rearrange it, reform it, we can reposition it, however we do it in the emotional freedom technique, or if it's a yoga posture, if it's a breath technique, whatever that is, it's helping tap into whatever that is showing up and is allowing for the release. Right. That's the most important. The most important thing we need. It needs to come out, but it needs to be in a safe,
absolutely,
a total safe and very, very, very kind place.
Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate you bringing up safety, because I think there's a lot of modalities out there and different things people are pursuing around self-help and personal development that maybe, if the subject matter is not one that is particularly deep for that person or rooted in any sort of trauma or deep pain, then those practices might be really effective. But if the person is dealing with something that is old, stored in their nervous system, those practices that aren't really taking into account safety and this gradual process, that can be re-traumatizing and potentially worse for the person. So thank you so much for bringing up safety. I think I've seen people in the process that they weren't being held in a safe way really have very dangerous experiences. I'm going to say that. I know it sounds extreme. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so beautiful. I know, Phil, in your practice that you help guide people through different experiences and through sound therapy, and you're there to provide safety. It's one of your main things.
I think that's the core component. And thanks for saying that. And thank you, Carmelinda. This is such an amazing conversation. We talk about the nervous system, right, and safety. Want to work with helping the brain stem not see help as a threat, and that's very, very difficult in these times as well, with the extra restrictions and the extra limitations and the impending doom fear of the media messaging around the virus. I'll just leave it at that, which is already activating the brainstem, right, into fight or flight. And we're being told all this information. We're trying to find out the truth for ourselves, and what is okay and what is not okay. And the environment, especially in the social aspect, the messaging is saying it's not safe. So how can I get to the point of relating to someone that's external to me, with the messaging saying, well, they might be asymptomatic or they might be symptomatic, and those types of things. Mm-hmm. So we've already got that activated. How can we provide, or how can we create that container Whereas even the messaging says that I might be asymptomatic and I got to stay away from people and I can't be in front of people. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
dealing with that, with the traumas and everything, I would say on a global scale, we've all been traumatized, and it's all bringing up all of these traumas that we experienced when we were a child, or when we were told we couldn't do something, or we had to stay away, or that wasn't okay, or that wasn't safe. That is like so prevalent right now. And Carmelinda, thank you so much for doing the work that you're doing to help people through these times, because these are like, what we say, unprecedented times. This is unprecedented, man. I was watching a show, and the alert came on the TV saying it's long.
Oh, it did.
It did.
I saw it today on my phone. It came up as an Amber Alert.
Yeah,
it does. Well, that's why one of the reasons they put this system in. And I think that if you read the text, they actually said you can go to work on it. So they made a little typo in there, because they said you shouldn't go to work unless you're in, the right group that's allowed to go to that workplace. In any case, I want to go back to what Carmelinda was speaking to about a moment ago, is that your immune system and your body stores those traumas, whether it's in this life or a past life, an old life, whatever it is, and those can get triggered as you go through your day, just because we're emotional beings. And one of the things I've talked about before is just to think about those things that we have, those lessons learned, those experiences. Those are also what I would call nutrition. So food is nutrition, but also thoughts, feelings, and words, and actions and activities, and those can get stuck. And by working with yourself, I think, Carmelinda, also with Phil, you help to clear those things out over time, a gradual process, because people rely on those things. It defines their life sometimes. I can't believe it. They live their trauma their entire day. It's who they are, and you just can't take it away like that. It's a gradual awareness and change and mindset thing that happens, I think, in people being mindful. So I just want to make that comment, that's a way to think about those things that you have stored in your refrigerator yourself. You need to get rid of, because they're sitting there rotting. And they need to get out, because they impact the way that you think and feel and act every day.
That's it. You say it beautifully, Chris and Carmelinda, around the storing, and it is like a refrigerator, right? We need to clean that out.
I don't know where that came from. I was just thinking, what's in my fridge right now?
What's storage, right? It's storage. If something like a malware gets on your computer, that's something that needs to be cleaned off, right? It's something that needs to be wiped away and let go. But we don't know it's there until it shows up, or something shows up, or we are aware, or the awareness comes in and around that. And the nervous system it's incredible. It's incredible what it does to adapt and help us keep a sense of normalcy and a sense of. I laugh because I'm noticing my own sense of normalcy sometimes. I'm just like, oh shit, like where did that come from? But the nervous system is so powerful and so quick to adapt to whatever it needs to be in that moment.
So I think that now would be a good time, Phil, for you to share your beautiful gift with us.
Okay.
Of playing and singing. We're so excited.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to welcome all the Instagrammers and the Twitter people and the people on YouTube and also on Facebook. We're running across multiple channels all at once. It's very exciting. Running on like 8 channels today. I want to welcome Mary, who's joined us in the session too. Mary, we're going to look forward to hopefully hearing from you soon when we get back from this first song. What are we hearing today, Phil?
I'm gonna do. I was debating what I was gonna do, but I'm gonna do. I am all of the things.
I love this song.
The song that
It's so great.
But I think it speaks to exactly what we're talking about. So the first half of the song is the mind contemplating itself, and the second half of the song is nature coming in and say, hey, just be, man, just be. So here we go. I am all of the things that come to me in my dream from the hell. It's a great big sky, and I stand all of the time and I wonder all of the time the biggest question. all white. Am I here all on my own, or am I a part of the zone, twilight time? Where is my home? So I ask the trees all of the time, what is really on mine? Will I end up fine, all on my own? Just be the trees, I'll say we are just being okay with what we are. We are all the same, connecting beneath the ground. Just look at what we found, and all we need is borders around. My life is your life now, and my breath is your breath now, and my heart is your heart now. Da 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 da. Oh, da 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 da. Oh, da 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 da. Oh. Just be the trees, I'll say we are just being okay with who we are. We are all the same, connecting beneath the ground. Just look at what we found, and all we need is borders around. My life is your life now, and my breath is your breath now, and my heart is your heart now. My life is your life now, and my breath is your breath now, and my heart is your heart now.
So beautiful.
Thank
Amazing.
you, Carmelinda.
So
Thank you, Chris.
beautiful. I have something I really want to say about one of the lyrics, but
Yes.
you might have something you want to say before that,
No,
Chris.
sure. No.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just there's a the whole song was beautiful, but the line where you say, "And my heart is your heart now," I just think it's so relevant to where we're at right now. Just going back to what we were saying earlier, I see the relevance. The nervous systems, they sort of connect, right? If you're working one-on-one with a therapist, if you're hanging out with your friends, and I think on a bigger scale, right? The world collectively, we're vibrating so much together. Our magnetic fields are so expansive, and we are really united. And so I think about the difference of being connected with people from a nervous place standpoint, where we're all triggered and overstimulated, to a place of heart connection. And the heart connection is softer, and there's space for healing, and there's support. And so if we could take the collective energy from this overstimulated place and really unify from the heart space, then collectively we're healing. And so it's just so powerful, and it makes me emotional because I trust the potential and possibility for healing in everybody, in culture, on a global scale. So thank you for that. It was so beautiful.
So well. Thank you for sharing your experience. That was so powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, really nice. Mary, welcome. Where are you coming in from today?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
We can.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. I'm in Eagle River, Alaska.
Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Fascinating.
Which part of Alaska is that? Towards the south or the north, east, west?
I'm in the central lower. Well, I'm central, but it's in the lower part. If you think
Okay.
of Alaska like
Beautiful.
this. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, today we're talking about mindfulness. What do you think about mindfulness? And I think the question I'm going to pose to the group, you can go first as our extra special guest coming in from Alaska today, is there an example, or what do you find happens if you're not mindful about something? Do things get off track, or do you find that you can just find flow? So what's mindfulness to you, and how do you find it helps you in the day?
Well, that's just such a great question, because I actually have discovered a new definition of mindfulness today. This morning, I had a breakthrough. So I'm understanding now that to be mindful, we really need to be connected to the earth and also to the larger cosmos all simultaneously.
Yeah.
So in Alaska, we have a lot of earthquakes. And of course, earthquakes correspond with tapping, right? Are you with me? Like Rumi's heart, tapping from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this morning at 3:32 a.m., I felt an earthquake, and it woke me up. And as a result of that process of, I don't know, somehow I've gotten into a space where I can really listen more deeply now. I don't know how it happened. It's miraculous.
No, it's good. It's good. You're getting some gifts there. That's beautiful.
Totally. Yeah. So
Good for you.
the other thing is we have a mountain range. So we're on the Cook Inlet, and there's a huge mountain, and she's called Sleeping Lady. And of course, the Europeans named her Mount Susitna, but she's really Sleeping Lady. And I am understanding we have to all be sleeping ladies. We have to have our ear very, 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 very close to the earth at all times. And we need to be listening. So I don't know, what a gift, right? That all came to me this morning. So that's what I would say.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Oh, the other thing is, I don't want to sound too strange, but I guess I'm among friends here, so I'm not going to worry about it. You have to hold counsel with the trees and with the environment. And I did that yesterday morning. I actually was called to go out onto my deck and hold counsel with the trees and listen, because they are saying things. It's just, you've got to get yourself in a different time conception of time. I don't know. I haven't figured that all out yet, but
for sure. It's beautiful.
Thank you for hi, Mary. Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and experience. I think it's amazing timing that you showed up. But that it's that zone, that place inside of us where we can, like you're saying, like listening, but that zone where we are all one. That we connect. We've forgotten how to do that, and I love the way you say take counsel with the trees, because they're part of the big council, man. And how they connect, under the earth, and how they speak to each other through their branches and the oils that they release from themselves. And how they communicate is like brilliantly beautiful, and they're saying so many things.
Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible.
And they were covered in your song, and I know, Phil, you walk in the trees a lot yourself every week, I think, don't you?
I do every day.
Every day. And how long do you walk for, Phil?
I walk for at least 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours.
I know.
Beautiful.
You see, so you're talking to the tree guy, and if you look behind him, there's trees. So everything is very in alignment right now.
I love the trees, especially right now, especially with the ice on the trails. I went for a walk one day without any ice spikes, and I slipped and I fell.
Oh.
And I was in the middle of this trail, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I'm like almost 50. I just fell on the ice, and there's nobody around, and I have to go down this hill before I can get out of the park.
Yeah.
And it's you know, I gotta say, like, the fear that set in was like immense, almost paralyzing, to the point where I was like, how am I gonna get up and how am I gonna stand up? And the trees, I looked at the trees and I'm like, the trees don't think, right? They just be. Okay, what do I gotta do, right? What's next? Okay, get up, don't think, stop thinking. And just, we need to, one step at a time, one breath at a time, move forward. But I got to say, that promptly made me get a set of ice spikes so I can go for my walks in the morning in a safe way.
Yeah.
But learning how to walk on the ice, that is, I've got to say, that's my biggest takeaway for the past couple of weeks. It's like, when you're walking uphill, it's a different step. It's not like you're walking on ground or walking on pavement. Like, ice is the most unforgiving, relentless teacher. And no, there's no shame, and no, it is. It's like, you step the wrong way, you fall. That's it, right? And it's like I'm learning another balance inside my body now, where I can connect to inside as I'm walking on those, like, the icy hills, or, you know, those slippery places that I've slipped on before, and then learning how to step in those moments, step by step, breath by breath, right?
So yeah, I'm getting chills right now. Okay, now let me just tell you the two things is that you've just totally brought it back to being mindfulness, and you're actually being mindful in every step. Every step you take, even in life. But I mean, just in the forest, on the ice, you're being mindful on every step. And you've almost just quoted the verses from every breath you take, every step you take. And I don't know if you've queued that one up, but it might be one to think about, because I'm going to go over to Carmelinda now, because I'd like to hear from Carmelinda on what happens in her experience that she's had or others have had that she's counseled in not being mindful, and what can happen if you're not mindful.
Well, I definitely don't think that I'm a total expert on it, but you know, one of the things that for me is where my sensitivity goes is observing the amount of substance abuse that people are experiencing right now. And to me, that is a very big piece of evidence of the separation between the person and the soul. So for me, mindfulness keeps you, or at least brings you back to that centered part of yourself, which to me is spirit, or the essence of who you are, divinity, truth, clarity. And an absence from that is just, there's so much suffering and pain. So what I believe I'm seeing a lot of, and working with people in substance abuse recovery, is the result of not having this connection and this mindfulness. We're looking to soothe, to self-soothe. If you don't have any tools to bring yourself back when your mind is ruminating, or you're stuck in like a fight or flight place, then you're just going to want to numb out those overwhelming sensations and emotions. So I just think that is one of the sort of worst case scenarios of this distance, or this not having a relationship with yourself in mindfulness. But on an everyday basis, even when it's not that extreme, I see a lot of suffering, and it's not something that I would say I never experience. I still experience it, but I think one of the powers to having these tools and these practices in our lives is being able to say, "Oh, I'm in it right now. Like, I'm in it. I'm in that place that's like not anchored in my truth. I'm not being mindful." That's a huge progress for a person who would otherwise just be taken by that moment, and potentially go in a spiral within that space.
Yeah, it's a great, beautiful points. Thank you for that. It reminds me that I wanted to bring up the idea that the opposite of being mindful is avoidance, perhaps. What do you say to that, Phil?
Thank you, and thank you, Carmelinda, for sharing. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful share. And Chris, the opposite of mindfulness is avoidance. So we could essentially say mindfulness is connection, right? So there's connection and avoidance, right? So I learned in my journeys and travels with addiction, the opposite of addiction is connection. So we tend to soothe in those places of like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can handle this. and then it becomes a loop because we've disconnected or lost connection with ourselves. So avoidance to the point where it was safe to avoid, and now it's become a routine and it's become a behavior. It's when we avoid something, sometimes I got to put something on the shelf, right? I'm like, I can't look at that right now, because if I do, I am going to lose everything, right? So I just need to put it aside, gather myself, and take those moments, and when I'm ready to look at it, to have a look at it. But say avoidance, connection, could be like mindlessness, mindfulness, addiction, connection, whatever that is. It's taken us out of the oneness, whatever that is. Even if we say, I'm connecting because I don't want to be addicted, right? There's a duality there, and it's taken us out of the oneness again, right? So we can notice that and what that is, and not maybe subscribe to one side of things. Then we can wholly look at what we need to do, and I think that's the essence of mindfulness.
Yeah, beautiful.
Have I answered your question or not?
You did? I think you did. I think you did. Yeah, I don't think it's always black and white. It's sort of a blend of a few things. And I'm just looking at the time here. We should go for our second song, and then we'll just ask any questions. We're coming up on the 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Cool. I've got this song. This is another song I wrote. I'm gonna do the Every Breath We Take, but this is another song I wrote around when the duality hits, and we notice that we're torn in these places. So it's called Devil on the Run, Be the One. I wonder about what's coming in. Is it love or is it sin? I try not to think too much about those things. I will stay in what it is and what it brings. Oh, the devil on the run. I keep the fire, the mystery and the fun. But though my angel said it can't be done, I will be the one. What are you doing up here in my head? If you stay here too long, I will end up dead. Drop down into the fires of my heart. With every breath, that's where I start. Oh, the devil on the run. I keep the fire, the mystery and the fun. Though my angel said it can't be done, I will be the one. Oh, 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 oh. And now I walk through the shadows of my life. I leave behind the failings of my strife. But what will come before me now that I'm alive? I let it all go, I can thrive. Oh, devil on the run. I keep the fire, the mystery and the fun. Though my angel said it can't be done, I will be the one. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow, in the pocket today.
That was, I think that spoke to what we talked about, right?
Yeah, it did. It did.
The fire, drop down into the fires, right? Stay at it. I wrote it because I gotta stay out of my head all the time, because I find myself up here a lot in the thoughts and ideas, and some of them are good, right? So some of them are good around like song and writing songs and things like that. But when I'm up there, I gotta notice, and the first piece of mindfulness for me is like I wonder about what's coming in. Is it love? And then the assessment, right? Is it good or bad? Is it safe? Is it not safe? And then I'm like, I try not to think about those things too much. I just stay in what it is and what it brings, and that there in there lights my fire, because it's exciting. It's exciting what what the next step is going to unfold. Trusting that the universe is gonna open the next step in those moments, and sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes a while for the next step to unfold.
Yeah.
And then it's all about the dialogue staying up here, right? If we stay up in our heads all the time, our nervous system will be on fight or flight mode all the time. And the excess cortisol in our body and adrenaline will kill us. So we stay up there, we will end up dead. And that's the second verse. We talk about that. And then the second half of that verse is like, drop down into the fires of my heart with every breath. That's where I start. And that's the shift. In every moment when I catch myself, no, drop down here. We're going to be here right now, because I can feel myself losing balance. Let's say that's the best thing I can say. If I don't drop down, I'm going to slip and I'm going to misstep.
Yeah, beautiful.
That I know.
Wow, yeah, that's a great analogy, to drop down into your heart, into the heart chakra, into your life force.
Fires, man.
Yeah, the fire. Well, we need to wrap up, but I'd like to go for a final comment to Carmelinda on mindfulness. Is there anything that came from the song, or anything that came to you you'd like to share, Carmelinda?
I mean, I feel like I could have this conversation forever. It's such an inspiring one. But one thing I will say, to some of what Phil just said, I can relate. I DJ, and I think like when I start feeling myself getting too caught up in my head about what this is going to be like, how people are going to receive it, if I'm going to mess up, because like that all happens. I have like a little prayer, and I just ask God, because that's the language I speak. I understand everyone speaks a different language around that, but I ask God to shine the love and light through me into my music, into the people, and into their hearts. And if I keep that in my head, like if I'm really anchored in that, and sometimes it takes a lot of effort to get anchored into it, I just find that I have the most beautiful experience, because I recognize that I'm just allowing myself to be a vessel of a energy and a light and a love that is for everybody. So if we're in the position to have that platform, I think it's a gift, and everybody can do it in every minute of their life. The grocery store, with their children, doesn't matter. But being in that space where you're communicating to a group of people like Phil, or if I'm DJing, I just think it's such an amazing platform to connect with that energy and invite it into the space. So
yeah, it's so beautiful. Thank you for those words. We are vessels of love. I love that. I love that idea. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, I wanted to thank Mary for being here. Do you have anything to share, Mary?
Oh no. The only thing I'll share is that this is a day. It's just that's all I'm gonna say is wow, you guys have made my day. Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful.
So
Thank you
great
so
to
much.
be here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. And I know that all of us, to everyone that's out there and everyone that watches the replay, we want to extend the love and fire energy in our hearts and souls to yours, so that you can experience love, compassion, joy, and peace and truth during these times. And until next week, when we return with the COVID Freedom Sessions. And thanks again to our special guest, Carmelinda di Manno.
Thank you for having me so much, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, Phil.
Be well.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Be well, everyone.
Be well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.